I know exactly how long you carried this waiting in your heart. I saw when you tried to be strong in front of others, but inside you were tired, exhausted, not understanding why things weren't happening for you. I know every night you lay wishing for just a sign, an answer, something to show that I was really there, taking care of what you no longer had the strength to sustain. I saw when the tears fell in the silence of your room, when you tried to hide your pain so as not to worry anyone, when you said everything was all right while your heart screamed for relief. None of this went unnoticed by me. I saw when you looked around and wondered why so many people seemed to move forward while you remained stuck in the same place. I heard the thoughts you never dared to say aloud. I felt the weight of what you carried and the loneliness you faced, even surrounded by people. I was there when you tried to believe one more time and something went wrong again. I was there when you took a deep breath and told yourself you needed to keep going, even without any reason to continue. I was there when everything inside you wanted to give up, but you still took one more step. I know how much it hurt you to see doors closing. I know how hard it was to hold back a smile when someone asked about plans you could barely imagine. I saw when you felt ashamed, diminished, compared, forgotten, and I know how you blamed yourself for not achieving what you always wanted. But today I tell you, I never blamed you. I never expected perfection from you. I was always looking at your heart, at the strength you never imagined you had, at the faith you maintained even when wounded. I also saw how much you longed for a place of your own, a space of peace, dignity, and rest. You didn't want luxury, you didn't want extravagance, you didn't want to impress anyone. You just wanted a home, a place where you could close the door and feel that, finally, you were loved, protected, honored. I know this. Desire because it was I who placed it within you. This longing didn't come about by chance. It was born in my heart before it was born in yours. That's why it hurts so much. Because it's more than a dream, it's a promise. And today, I bring you back to this moment because the time has come for you to know that nothing has been ignored. I recognize the weight of your waiting. I recognize everything you have faced to get here. Your story did not go unnoticed in heaven. Your pain was not lost in the crowds. I saw you. I was with you. And now, I am here saying that this is the moment when things begin to change. You are not standing before this moment by chance. You have been led here because I have set this time. Everything you have experienced until now was not meant to destroy you, but to prepare you. And before I reveal to you what is about to happen, I want you to declare with your own voice that you still believe, because the faith you have maintained, even wounded, is the key that opens this new door. Comment now with something that expresses your confidence, because I am preparing you to receive what has already begun to move in your favor. I need you to understand something profound. Nothing that is happening now is a coincidence. You didn't arrive at this message by chance. It wasn't a slip of the algorithm. It wasn't momentary curiosity, nor a distraction of your mind. It was my spirit that brought you here. I marked this moment even before you imagined that your heart would need this word. Every second that brought you to this hour was perfectly aligned. Everything that seemed like delay was protection. Everything that seemed like disorder was direction. Everything that seemed like silence was preparation. I caused this message to cross your path because the clock of heaven has struck. There are spiritual times that you don't perceive with your natural eyes, but which govern the invisible movements of your life. I have been accompanying every phase of your Regitivnust journey, and today you have entered the exact moment when the promise begins to move in your direction. Human time may seem slow, confusing, unstable, but my time is perfect, immutable, and sovereign. It is never late. It is never early. It always arrives at the time when the heart is ready to receive it. I have led you here because now what is spiritual is beginning to touch the natural. There are promises that have been silently unfolding like seeds beneath the earth, and for a long time you thought nothing was happening. But I was working where you couldn't see. When I move silently, and when I speak at the moment when your soul is most sensitive to understand, and today is that moment. This instant you are living is the intersection between the promise I prepared and the right time for the harvest. I arranged meetings, took detours, held some doors, and opened others so that you could be exactly here, exactly now, hearing exactly what you needed to hear. This is not just a message, but a point marked on your spiritual timeline. This word could not have arrived sooner because you were not ready before, and it could not have arrived later because later it would have been too late. It arrives now because heaven opened a window and you are inside it. How many times did you think you were being ignored? How many times did you think I had forgotten what you asked for? How many times did you feel you were living through repeated attempts without result? I saw all of that. But what you called delay was just alignment. While you cried, I adjusted. While you waited, I built. While you tried to understand, I prepared. You just didn't realize it because most of what I do first in the invisible. I brought you here so that you may know that there is a time when the promise is not only released, but also announced. The revelation I am bringing is not to thrill you, but to awaken you. I am touching your spirit because you need to realize that something greater is happening around you. Nothing is disorganized, nothing is lost, nothing is out of control. Your entire story has been guided up to this very moment, as if each step had conspired to place you before this word. Now, I am opening your perception so that you understand that you are participating in a movement prepared in heaven. Throughout your life, there have been times when you didn't understand why certain doors didn't remain open. There were people who left, paths that changed, decisions that led you to places you never expected. But all of this was fitting into this moment. Because there is a point in the journey where the promise approaches and you feel that something is about to happen, even without knowing how or why. This is what you are feeling right now. This is what is touching your heart as you listen to me. I am awakening your consciousness so that you realize this is no ordinary moment. It is a spiritual calling. When I want to speak to someone, I move everything around me until that person is reached. And that is what I did with you. I brought this word because it marks the beginning of a new cycle. And before I reveal what's coming, I want you to understand that this message needs to reach someone who is also at the limit of their strength. Therefore, share this message now, because I too will use you to touch those who are about to lose their faith. I want you to receive this part with an open heart, because now I reveal something you have always felt, but never known how to express. What you call a dream, I call a promise already fulfilled. The house you desire is not a loose idea, not a distant thought, not a fragile request thrown to the wind. It already exists in the spiritual realm. It has already been built, approved, prepared, set apart, and marked by me long before you imagined you would need it. Nothing in it is improvised. Nothing in it is generic. Nothing in it is outside the plan. It already carries your name. Engraved in the invisible, like a celestial deed, signed even before you were born. I am not preparing a promise for you. I am preparing you for the promise. And that is why, for so long, you thought nothing was happening. While you thought you were standing still, something was moving on this side. While you believed everything was delayed, I was finalizing what needed to be completed in the spiritual realm. When I release something, I don't release it halfway. The house I released for you is not just a physical place. It is an environment of healing, a territory of peace, a key to honor, a symbol of the new time that is approaching. I want you to imagine the magnitude of this movement. While you lived ordinary days, heaven worked in silence. While you tried to understand the reason for so much waiting, I was adjusting details you couldn't see. While you cried, trying to understand why everything seemed so distant, I was bringing closer what one day you would call a miracle. The house I prepared wasn't created to inflate your ego or make you compete with anyone. It was born in my heart to restore areas of your life that have been wounded for years. It was born to restore dignity, rest, and emotional structure to your spirit. I know how many times you've imagined where your place would be. I know when you looked at houses on the street and wished you only had a peaceful corner. I know when you entered spaces and felt that pang in your chest, thinking that perhaps it would never be possible. I know when you tried to convince yourself that you didn't need so much, and then realized that what you wanted wasn't luxury, it was belonging. I know when you believed, disbelieved, believed again, and then got lost, not knowing what to feel. But all this oscillation happened because you couldn't see what I saw. You only saw the emptiness of waiting, but I saw the construction of purpose. This house that I have prepared for you is not just an answer to your request, but an answer to your story. It is the remedy for old wounds, the end of painful cycles, the beginning of a time when you will no longer need to ask permission to belong. It was created exactly to the size of your emotional, spiritual, and family needs. I do not give crumbs to my children. I give that which heals, restores, strengthens, and leaves a mark. And this house will mark you. It will be the beginning of a new chapter, the place where you will take a deep breath and finally feel that you are living what has always been your spiritual right. And even if you don't see signs now, I tell you, something is already moving in your direction. The spiritual has already moved ahead of the natural. What was a promise is in transition. What was invisible is descending. What was distant is drawing near. The house is not trapped in the future. It is traversing the layers of time until it reaches your present. That is why, even without being able to explain it, you feel that something is about to happen. It is my spirit testifying with your spirit that the hour is coming. And before moving on to the next part, I want you to recognize that this revelation is being released to activate your faith, not to thrill you, but to position you. Like and subscribe to remain under this message because more revelations are approaching your spirit. I need you to understand what has truly happened to you in recent years. Many times, when a door closed, you believed it was due to a lack of ability, a lack of opportunity, or even the absence of my presence. But today I tell you with authority, every door that closed was a form of protection. I did not allow you to enter environments that would destroy your peace, your dignity, and the future I have prepared for you. You saw doors closing. I saw dangers receding. You saw loss. I saw preservation. You thought you were being rejected. I was protecting you. I was there when you thought it was finally your chance, but something went wrong at the last second. You looked at it as a failure, but I was diverting your life from a path that would rob you of energy, time, and identity. There were situations where you thought the opportunity was perfect, but I saw conversations you didn't hear, intentions you didn't perceive, environments you couldn't tolerate. There were people you grew close to, and suddenly everything crumbled without explanation. But none of this was random. I needed to remove you from places that would hinder the promise that was coming. I heard your heart when you asked why everything seemed so difficult for you. I saw when you thought everyone was progressing except you. I saw when you felt ashamed, when you tried to justify results that never came, when you thought there was something wrong with you. But I want you to know there was no fault in you. There was deliverance. There were paths that would lead you to exhaustion, debts that would crush your spirit, decisions that would extinguish your light, and alliances that would destroy your faith. I closed each of those doors before they hurt you. I know how painful it is to wait. I know how exhausting it is to try and see everything crumble. I know how frustrating it is to feel like life is stuck. The destiny isn't moving forward, the time is passing and nothing is changing. But I want to reveal something to you that will transform this pain into understanding. I was moving you away from what seemed good to bring you closer to what is perfect. The waiting you experienced wasn't punishment, it was strategy, it was direction, it was preparation. When I say it's not the right time, it's not because you don't deserve it, but because I am building something greater than you imagined. I spared you from relationships that would make you doubt your worth. I kept you away from environments where you would be diminished. I didn't allow you to enter into contracts that would imprison you. I protected you from humiliations you wouldn't have the strength to endure. And many times, when you felt something was wrong, it was my spirit trying to show you that that wasn't your path. But you didn't understand at the time. You only saw the closure. I saw the deliverance. You have no idea how many times I silenced what would destroy you. You have no idea how many times I said no because yes would hurt you. You have no idea how many times I held your hand without you realizing it. Everything that hurt you in the past was part of a protection that you will only fully understand when the promise manifests. And when you enter the house I prepared for you, every closed door will make sense. You will look back and say, now I understand why that couldn't happen. I tell you, nothing that failed was meant to succeed. Nothing you lost was truly yours. Nothing that didn't remain would have led you to the destiny I am preparing. I removed, diverted, ended, and blocked because I saw ahead. I saw what you didn't see. I protected what you didn't even know you needed to protect. Everything was taken care of by me, even when you believed I was silent. My silence is not absence. My silence is strategy. And now that you understand the purpose of waiting, I can guide you to the next level of revelation, because every door that closed opened space for what is about to arrive. And what is coming doesn't fit in places that rejected you. You were not rejected, you were set apart. And that is why, at this moment, I call you to continue walking with me. There was no delay. There was direction. There was no abandonment. There was protection. There was no loss. There was exactly what you needed to reach what I have prepared. I want you to understand something now that few realize, but which has a profound spiritual weight. When I speak of signs, I am not talking about coincidences, nor random numbers, nor empty symbols. I am talking about spiritual codes that my spirit uses to awaken your faith, align your mind, and prepare your tapping heart for what is approaching. And one of these codes is the number 7, which from the beginning represents fullness, completion, totality, perfection of my purpose. When you see the number 7, I am showing that I have finalized something in the spiritual realm. But when the number appears multiplied, repeated, amplified, when it arrives as 7,777, that is not just fullness, it is convergence. It is the perfect union between the right time, the right promise, the right movement, and the right manifestation. It is as if 4 layers of heaven were aligning at the same time to bring to earth that which is already completed in my plans. It is as if what was scattered now unites to form a straight, direct, continuous line, pushing what is yours toward your life. 7,777 is not magic. It is alignment. I am not asking you to use this number as a lucky charm. I did not lead you here to create superstition. I want you to understand that there are times when I use signs to get your attention, to activate your faith and to mark a spiritual point in your journey. Just as the blood on the threshold marked protection, as the 12 stones marked memory, as the staff marked authority, I use symbolic acts to establish in the heart what I have already established in heaven. And this number is exactly that, a seal of agreement, a gesture that says, I receive, I believe, I align myself. The number 7,777 appears to remind you that what I began in your life is reaching its final conclusion. It emerges when the promise is drawing near, when the spiritual is touching the natural, when the time of waiting is meeting the time of manifestation. Didn't you notice? Whenever this number appears on your journey, your heart feels something, a good restlessness, an inexplicable certainty, a sign that something is coming. This happens because it is my spirit calling you to pay attention. It's as if I were saying, prepare yourself. What you have been waiting for is closer than you. Imagine, you thought it was just a coincidence, but it wasn't. You saw the number 7 inches schedules on license plates, in notifications, in sequences that make no sense to those who don't live in the spirit, but you do. And that's why you felt there was something there, because there really was. Every time that number crossed your path, it was me saying that something was aligning. And now I tell you, the alignment is complete. What was fragmented has been reunited. What was distant has begun to move. What seemed stagnant has begun to advance. When you declare 7,777, you are not creating the promise. I have already created it. You are responding to what I am releasing. You are saying to your spirit, I accept. You are saying to your fear, you no longer control me. You are saying to your mind, I believe in what God is doing, even though I don't see anything yet. You are saying to heaven, I am within what the Lord is moving. This act does not release the porto doubles. Lord is mining, blessing, but it releases your faith. This gesture does not create the house, but it opens space in your spirit to receive it. It is a covenant that does not bind me, but aligns you. I want you to see the depth of this. How do you explain feeling that something is coming without having any natural reason to feel it? How do you explain the intuition that has been repeatedly arising? How do you explain the feeling that you are being prepared for something big? This is not emotional, this is spiritual. It is the result of the alignment that I began. It is the confirmation that the house I promised you is already moving in your direction. 7,777 is the sign that the spiritual cycle is complete, and now the manifestation phase begins. Therefore, when I ask you to declare this number, it is not a ritual, it is a statement. It is you declaring before heaven that you believe in what I am saying. It is you marking this moment as the day your faith aligned with the purpose I have prepared for you. It is you saying, I receive what comes from the Lord. This is an act that opens your heart to what is about to be fulfilled. Comment 7,777 now as a seal of faith, acknowledging that my timing is completely aligned with your destiny. I want you to understand now what was really happening during all those years when you felt nothing was changing. You thought your life was standing still. You thought your efforts weren't enough. You thought your faith wasn't working. You even thought I had forgotten you. But none of that was true. While you believed you were standing still, you were putting down roots. While you thought you were being left behind, I was strengthening what would be necessary to sustain what would come next. And to explain this to you, I need to show you what happens to Japanese bamboo. Japanese bamboo is watered for years without showing visible growth. Those who look at it think the plant isn't functioning, that it's dry, that it's lagging behind, that it's not progressing. But what no one sees is that During this period of apparent stagnation, the roots are deepening intensely. They extend underground, gain strength, connect, and stabilize. When the right time finally comes, that bamboo grows meters in just a few weeks. It becomes tall, firm, unshakable, but it can only sustain its own height because it spent years invisible. The invisible was more important than the visible, and so it was with you. Every tear you shed watered your roots. Every prayer you made when no one was watching strengthened your structure. Every night you thought you were alone prepared your spirit. Every closed door deepened your faith. Every frustration amplified your resilience. You were being built from the inside before being honored from the outside. I didn't waste a single second of your process. The time you felt forgotten was the time I worked hardest in your life. I know you thought it was taking too long. I know you compared yourself to others who seemed to be moving forward while you remained in the same place. But I want to remind you, bamboo grows invisibly for years before growing rapidly, and what's coming for you will be exactly like that. You have lived years of silence, concealment, and waiting. Now you will enter a time of acceleration, rapid advancement, and evident transformation. And this will only be possible because your roots are deep enough to support the height of the promise. What hurt you made you stronger. What held you back prepared you. What you thought was loss was foundation. I was expanding your inner self so that you would have the capacity to receive and sustain what I asked you to wait for. If I had given it to you sooner, it would have hurt you. It would have weighed more than it blessed. It would have broken what is now firm. That is why I hid you for a while. That is why I kept silent. That is why I held you in the place where you wanted to leave. I was not punishing you. I was structuring you. You think it took a long time, but I say it was exactly the time you needed to become strong enough to enter the next cycle. Your structure is now prepared. Your spirit is more mature. Your faith is deeper. Your resilience is refined. And, like bamboo, you will not grow slowly. You will grow suddenly. What was still will begin to move. What seemed distant will begin to draw closer. What you thought impossible will begin to happen before your eyes. I want you to see your past with new eyes. Don't see backwardness, see roots. Don't see abandonment, see construction. Don't see silence, see development. Everything you've lived through has created a strong and unshakable foundation. The house I prepared for you requires inner stability, and now you have it. Therefore, what is to come will be swift, intense, and surprising, just as bamboo breaks through the earth and grows uncontrollably. And before moving on to the next revelation, I ask you, share this message with someone who is also going through a difficult time and feels like they're wasting time, because I too am preparing that person for a growth that no one will be able to explain. I saw every moment you were belittled. I saw when they looked at you with disdain, when they asked you hurtful questions, when you tried to hide the pain of not having what many consider basic. I saw when you smiled to avoid crying, when you tried to pretend everything was all right, when you kept to yourself feelings that no one would understand. I saw when you came home with a heavy heart, when you felt ashamed for your dependence, when you thought there was something wrong with you for not being able to move forward. I was present in every detail of your humiliation. Nothing went unnoticed. There were times when you felt inferior for not having your own space. There were days when you had to listen to unfunny jokes, hurtful comments, insinuations that made you feel small. There were situations where you looked at yourself harshly, believing you were insufficient. I saw all of that. I felt the weight of it in you. And I want you to know that none of these episodes were ignored by me. Every word that hurt you was recorded in my heart. Every judgmental look was seen by my eyes. Every tear you silently shed flowed before me. I know when you tried to explain your process and no one understood. I know when they laughed at your hope. I know when they doubted your faith. I know when they called you a dreamer, delusional, exaggerating. I know when they said you would never have what you asked for. I know when they doubted your ability, your worth, your strength, and I also know what that did to you. I know when you started to believe those voices. I know when your self-esteem was affected. I know when you felt alone, and that's why I decided to transform this part of your story. No humiliation you have suffered will go unanswered. I am a God of justice, and my justice is not vengeance, it is restoration. I restore dignity. I restore identity. I rebuild what they tried to destroy within you. And the house I am bringing into your life is not just a gift, it is a sign, a milestone, a public testimony that I saw everything that hurt you and decided to turn the picture around before your eyes. What once shamed you will be the reason for your joy. What was once a joke will be a reason for celebration. What once diminished you will be what lifts you up. I am preparing an honor that will be proportional to the pain you have carried. The same mouth that once humiliated you may, without realizing it, witness your victory. The same eyes that saw your struggle will see your conquest. The same ones who said you wouldn't succeed will see my faithfulness manifest in your life. Not to exalt you above them, but to reveal that I walk with you, that I never abandoned you, that your tears were not in vain. Your story will change before those who doubted, not to hurt them, but to prove that I fulfill what I promise. And when you first step into the house I have prepared, you will feel something different in your spirit. It will not only be joy, it will be redemption. It will not only be emotion, it will be healing. It will not only be conquest, it will be restored dignity. You will know in that instant that everything you have lived through before had a purpose. You will understand that I did not let you suffer shame to destroy you, but to show you that the honor I give is incomparable to human honor. You will realize that every tear was a seed, every humiliation was ground, every weight was construction, and now the harvest is coming. I am rewriting your story before people and before heaven. Nothing will be the same. The pain you have experienced is about to transform into something so great that even you will have difficulty explaining it, but you will know that it came from my hands. And I want you to position yourself spiritually to receive this movement. Open your heart, prepare to be seen in a different way. Prepare to live what you have never lived before. Like and subscribe to remain under this message, because the honor I have prepared for you has already begun to unfold. I want you to understand something that will completely change how you see the promise that is approaching. The house I have prepared for you is not just a property, not just a roof, not just a physical place where you will live. It is a spiritual territory, a separate space, chosen and consecrated by me, even before you imagined you would have a home to call your own. I don't just work with concrete structures, I work with healing environments. I prepare places where my presence can rest, where your spirit can breathe, and where your soul can rebuild itself. From the beginning, I dreamed of this house not as a material achievement, but as an altar, a meeting point between you and me. A place where your story will be restored, your heart will be healed, and your identity will be reaffirmed. This house will not carry old traumas, nor energies of the past, nor marks from environments that hurt you. It will be a clean, pure territory, prepared for a new cycle. I chose this place because I know exactly what you need to flourish. I know the kind of peace your heart has sought for years. I know the kind of rest your soul silently begs for. And that is exactly what you will find there. You can't imagine how much of your life has been influenced by the environments you've been in. There were places that drained you, houses that weighed you down, atmospheres that hurt you, rooms that witnessed tears, spaces where you never managed to fully rest. There were environments where you felt you didn't belong, places that awakened insecurity, places where your faith seemed more fragile. But this house that I have prepared will carry none of that. It has been marked to be a territory of peace. When you enter it, you will feel the weight lift from your shoulders. You will take a deep breath and realize that something has changed in the air. You will feel a calmness that doesn't depend on circumstances. This happens because my presence will dwell there. I'm not just giving you walls. I'm giving you atmosphere. I'm giving you shelter. I'm giving you refuge. The house I'm bringing you will not only serve as a place to live, but to heal. It will be the place where you will rest without fear, sleep without anxiety, awaken without oppression. It will be where you will find the strength to continue, where old tears will cease to exist, where conversations you needed to have with me will finally find space. There, you will grow spiritually in a way you never could anywhere else, because there you will be treading on consecrated ground. Do you know why your heart never felt completely at peace in the places you've been? Because none of them were prepared for you. They were places of passage, temporary places, places of learning, not of destination. I didn't allow you to put down roots there because they weren't the home I wrote for your story. You always felt something was missing, and it was. My mark was missing. The touch of my hand was missing. The right environment for the promise to flourish was missing. But now you are drawing closer to what truly belongs to you, and that's why your spirit is already feeling something. The house I am bringing will be the place where your mind will be organized, where projects will be born, where you will find creativity, clarity, and direction. It will be there that important decisions will be made without confusion. It will be there that you will have healing conversations. It will be there that your heart will find balance. It will be there that your faith will be strengthened like never before. Because I will be there, pouring peace upon each room, filling each wall with tranquility, and covering each space with protection. I prepared this space because I knew you would need an environment where you could rise again. An environment where you could build your new version, far from the voices that diminished you, far from the memories that hurt you, far from the burdens you carried for so long. The house will be the setting for your reconstruction. It will be the space where you will learn to feel joy without fear, where you can finally see yourself as I have always seen you, worthy, loved, chosen. And when you are inside it, something within you will awaken. You will realize that it wasn't just about four walls. It was about purpose. It was about destiny. It was about healing. The house will be the physical sign that I guided you, protected you, and prepared you. And at that moment, you will understand that it was all worth it. Because finally, for the first time, you will be stepping onto the territory I always dreamed for you. I want you to realize now what is about to happen in your life, because this is the point where your past ceases to have authority and your future begins to reveal itself clearly. The house I have prepared will not just be a new place where you will live. It will be the milestone that divides your story in two. Before it, there was struggle, waiting, weariness, devaluation, limitations, and nights when you doubted yourself. After it, there will be honor, stability, strength, healing, and the certainty that I have always been with you, even when you couldn't feel me. You've spent years carrying a heavy burden and often felt that this chapter would never end. There were days when you wondered if your entire life would be marked by failed attempts, by promises that seemed too distant, by dreams that never found room to flourish. There were times when you thought all you would experience would be struggle, but I tell you, this phase is not your identity, it's just the stage I prepared you in. And now, that stage is about to change. The house I bring to you represents the closing of a cycle of pain. It is the line that separates what hurt you from what will strengthen you. It will be the moment when you take a deep breath and realize that you have finally arrived at the place I always wanted to take you. Everything will take on a new meaning. What once shamed you will cease to exist. What once limited you will lose its power. What once tired you will no longer affect your spirit. You will look at yourself with different eyes. You will see yourself with dignity, with purpose, with value. The house will be the space where your heart will understand that a new chapter is being written by my hands. And it won't just be you who notices this change. People around you will see the transformation. Not because you'll tell them, but because the change will be evident. There will be a different peace in your eyes, a new strength in your posture, a deep rest in your voice. The house will be more than walls. It will be a living testament to my faithfulness. It will be so clear, so strong, so striking, that even those who doubted you will recognize that there is something greater guiding your life. I will use this new phase to show that nothing you have been through was wasted. I want you to understand that this house marks the beginning of a time when you will no longer live on emotional crumbs, when you will no longer fear tomorrow, when your faith will not be sustained by effort, but by revelation. It will be a time of reconstruction, of stability, of reclaiming your own identity. Each room in this house will carry peace. Each wall will carry healing. Each step you take inside will be a reminder that I took you from where you were and placed you in a place where you can flourish. Everything that once seemed impossible will become natural. Insecurity will be replaced by conviction. Scarcity will be replaced by honor. Instability will be replaced by balance. You will not only see change, you will experience transformation. Your life will be clearly divided between before the fulfillment of the promise and after it. And that after will be the time when you understand how much I loved you throughout the entire process. I have led you here because you are ready to cross this line. You are ready to leave the past behind. You are ready to live what I have prepared in heaven to deliver to you on earth. Open your heart to this new time because it is approaching faster than you imagine. And I want you to receive this revelation with faith, with expectation, and with the awareness that this is the turning point in your story. Enjoy this video now as an act of faith, declaring that you are ready to enter the new season that I have prepared for you. I want to open your eyes now to something you are already feeling, but haven't yet been able to interpret. Before every great manifestation, I always begin with small signs. Before the promise becomes visible, I send discreet movements, subtle perceptions, almost imperceptible changes to awaken your spirit and prepare your heart. You are not imagining it. When you feel that something is about to happen, it's not anxiety, it's not illusion, it's not coincidence. It is my spirit announcing to you that the miracle has already begun to move in your direction. The signs are already there. Have you noticed that your mind has begun to calm down in areas where there was previously anguish? Have you noticed that some worries have lost strength without anything natural changing? Have you noticed that you've started sleeping a little better, breathing differently, feeling a peace you haven't felt in a long time? This isn't emotional, it's spiritual. It's the atmosphere changing before the manifestation arrives. Whenever I am about to release something great, I first alter the internal environment. I adjust your spirit, soften your emotions, strengthen your hope. I make you feel what you cannot yet see. You must also have noticed small, even discreet advances. An unexpected conversation, an opportunity that seemed dead but showed a sign of life. A person who contacted you at the exact right moment, a detail you thought was irrelevant, but that moved you. Perhaps you saw repeated numbers, specific times, phrases that touched you deeply, improbable encounters, doors that didn't fully open but moved. You thought they were just coincidences. But I tell you, none of this was by chance. These are the first beats of a promise, like a heart that begins to beat before it is born. I always announce before I deliver, and I am already announcing. You feel that something is different because it truly is. For weeks, months, perhaps even years, you have carried a feeling within you that you are getting close to something important. Even on difficult days, this feeling has never completely left you. You tried to ignore it, tried to explain it, tried to understand it, but you couldn't. That's because it's not something that comes from your mind, it comes from your spirit. And your spirit is responding to the movement that I have initiated. The signs also appear when I begin to distance myself from people, close cycles, shut down environments, and change directions. You must have noticed that some relationships have naturally dissolved. Some paths have lost their meaning. Some things you sought simply no longer made sense to you. This is not loss. This is a sign. I don't just prepare what is to come. I prepare you to receive what is to come. And for that, I remove everything that could hinder the arrival of the promise. Each recent separation has been part of this process. I also speak to you through sudden intuitions. Suddenly you feel you must wait. Suddenly you feel you must act. Suddenly you feel something no longer belongs to you. Suddenly you feel a phase is ending. Suddenly you feel something new is being born. These impulses are not accidental. They are spiritual movements. I am sharpening your sensitivity so that you recognize my steps before you see my works. I am training you to perceive heaven before heaven reveals itself. Listen, signs always come before miracles. It's not a maybe, it's not a hypothesis, it's a spiritual principle, and you are already in the time of signs. You are already in the moment when the invisible begins to manifest itself as small flashes in your life. You feel it, even without knowing how to explain it. And I am confirming it now. You are not imagining it. You are perceiving it. And this is proof that what is to come will be greater than you expect. I brought you to this revelation because you need to understand that you are closer than you think. The old cycle is not just ending, it has already ended. Now you are seeing the first signs of the new cycle being born, like the soft light before the sun appears on the horizon, like the wind that precedes the rain, like the sprout that breaks through the earth before the tree grows. The promise has already begun. It is not coming, it has already begun. And I want you to pay attention to what I am moving around. You, because every detail is a confirmation. And before I lead you to the next revelation, I ask you for a simple but purposeful act. Share this message with someone who also needs to learn to see the signs, because there are lives that will be awakened through your obedience. I want you to understand now the difference between doors and windows. Doors represent paths you can choose to enter at any time. They open and remain open until you decide to cross them. But windows are different. Spiritual windows have time, purpose, and limits. They open at specific moments when heaven and earth align, when the cycle of promise reaches the exact phase of manifestation. And that is what is happening in your life now. A spiritual window has been opened, and this window will not remain open forever. You didn't arrive at this message by chance. You were led here because you are living precisely within this window. There are things that can only be released when this moment arrives. There are promises that only materialize when this spiritual opening is created. There are movements that only happen when time and purpose meet. And I want you to realize that this window has been opened for you. It is the result of everything you have lived, everything you have endured, everything you have learned, and everything I have silently prepared. When a window like this opens, you feel an urgency without understanding why. You feel that something is coming. You feel that you can't miss this moment. You feel that you need to pay attention. You feel a heightened spiritual sensitivity, as if everything around you is speaking to you. This feeling is confirmation. You are not imagining, you are discerning. And that is what I want you to do now. Realize that this is a decisive moment. There are phases in life that are common, but there are phases that are defining, and you are living through a defining phase. I am moving things that have been stuck for years. I am accelerating processes that seemed impossible. I am aligning people, details, opportunities, paths, and decisions that connect precisely within this spiritual period. None of this would happen outside of this window, because there would be no spiritual structure to support it. You are within the perfect timing of the promise. And that is why you feel you need to be attentive, that you need to listen, that you need to be vigilant. When a window opens, it is essential not to be distracted. And this is what I want to lovingly warn you about. Distraction is one of the greatest enemies of a spiritual window. When heaven moves, everything around you tries to take you out of focus. Small worries, empty conversations, negative thoughts, sudden tiredness, emotional agitation, unexpected conflicts. All of this can arise as an attempt to pull you away from this moment. Not because you are weak, but because you are close. The closer you are, the more the spiritual environment becomes agitated, and that is why you need to remain vigilant. I don't want you to miss what I'm doing. I want you to be awake, sensitive, and attentive to my movements. There are revelations I'm about to deliver to you. There are directions that will begin to emerge in the coming days. There are details that will be aligned with a precision that only I can achieve. But you need to be spiritually positioned. You need to be connected. You need to be aware that the moment demands attention. Don't let the noise distract you. Don't let tiredness stop you. Don't let doubt paralyze you. This is a time that demands focus. You are in one of the most important moments of your spiritual journey. That's why you feel something has changed. That's why the atmosphere is different. That's why your spirit is more awakened. I am calling you to experience this window fully, because when it closes, what I have prepared will be released. The window doesn't last forever, but what I release within it remains forever in your life. I want you to remain aligned. I want you to continue receiving what I am releasing. I want you to be connected to everything I will reveal from now on. So do this now as an act of spiritual positioning. Sign up and stay tuned for what I will continue to reveal to you during this time, because this window is open and I want to guide you through it. I want you to pay close attention to what I am about to reveal to you, because this is one of the most important spiritual truths in this process. The final distractions are always the most dangerous. Not because they have power over you, but because they appear precisely when you are closest to the promise. When the enemy realizes he cannot stop what I am doing, he tries to distract you. He tries to steal your attention, drain your strength, create confusion, and cause emotional exhaustion. He knows that if he cannot close the door I have opened, he will only try to distract you from the path that leads to it. And that is why, in recent days, you have felt a different weight. Small things began to irritate you. Common situations started to seem bigger. People close to you began to act strangely. Unnecessary conversations arose. Old problems resurfaced. Emotions you had already overcome tried to resurface. None of this was a coincidence. All of this was attempted to distract you from what I am about to manifest. The enemy does not fight when you are distant. He fights when you are near. Have you noticed how suddenly arguments have started to arise out of nowhere? How people who didn't affect you before have begun to bother you. How discouraging thoughts have started to appear for no reason. How anxiety has increased at random moments. This happens because the spiritual realm is in motion, and when heaven moves, hell stirs. But I want you to understand, this agitation is not a sign of defeat, it is a sign of proximity. It is a sign that manifestation is already on its way. The final distractions always try to target three areas: the mind, the emotions, and the environment. If the enemy confuses your mind, he tries to weaken your faith. If he touches your emotions, he tries to undermine your strength. If he disrupts your environment, he tries to destabilize your peace. And in those moments, you may feel like you are going backward, but you are not. You are moving forward. The pressure doesn't increase when you are far from your destination. It increases when you are one step away from it. I tell you this today because I don't want you to fall into the trap of believing that these conflicts are signs that I have abandoned you. They are not. They are signs that you are in the exact place where you should be. The enemy doesn't waste energy attacking paths that lead nowhere. He fights against paths that lead to the promise. He tries to distract when he realizes that the delivery is too close to be prevented. He tries to make noise so that you don't hear my voice. He tries to create chaos so that you don't notice the silent movement that I have already begun. And that is why I call you today to guard your mind. Silence thoughts that do not come from me. Do not feed questions that distance you from peace. Do not accept words that try to diminish you. Do not allow anxiety to dictate the rhythm of your faith. I am in control, and you need to remain firm in this understanding. The more noise there is around you, the more you must seek my silence. The more turmoil appears, the more you must anchor your heart in my presence. This is how you overcome the last barrier before the miracle. Also, guard your emotions. Don't get into unnecessary arguments. Don't respond to provocations. Don't let people drag you into conflicts that don't belong to you. Don't let yourself be carried away by impulses that drain your energy. You are in a delicate moment spiritually, a moment of gestation, of transition, of surrender. And just as a woman in labor needs concentration, you need focus. Any distraction can tire your soul. And I don't want you to lose strength on the eve of fulfillment. Finally, take care of your environment. Organize what you can, clean what weighs you down, silence what confuses you. There are times when external order helps to stabilize the heart, and this is one of those times. I am calling you to prepare the space where my peace will rest. Because the environment around you also responds to what I am stirring in the spiritual realm. You are closer than you have ever been. The pressure you feel is not punishment, it is confirmation. Distractions don't mean you've gone astray, they mean you've gone astray. And now, more than ever, I want you to remain vigilant. What I am preparing is at the door, and nothing can stop what I have determined. Just stay focused, stay vigilant, and don't let anything take you off course. The last noise always comes before the great change, and your great change has already begun. I want to teach you now one of the most important principles you need to carry into this new time. Everything that comes from me brings peace, and everything that does not come from me steals your peace. No matter how beautiful, promising, or logical it may seem, if it doesn't bring you peace, it's not mine. And I know how many times you ignored this sign, how many times you felt an unease you couldn't explain, a restlessness that made no sense, a tightness in your chest that came out of nowhere, a feeling that something was wrong, even when on the outside, everything seemed right. You thought it was insecurity, you thought it was fragility, you thought it was fear, but it wasn't. It was my spirit trying to warn you. I protected you countless times with this peace that you didn't know how to interpret. There were environments that burdened you, relationships that drained your strength, decisions that brought you confusion. And even without understanding, you felt that something inside you didn't fit. That wasn't weakness, it was discernment. You didn't waste time when you left something behind. You avoided bigger problems. Peace always guided you. Restlessness always alerted you. You just didn't realize it because you didn't know it was me speaking to you through those sensations. I want you to understand that peace is not the absence of challenges, it is the confirmation of purpose. When something is mine, even if it is great, even if it seems impossible, even if it requires courage, your spirit feels peace. There is a silent rest, an inner relief, a different sensitivity. You feel that, in some way, it brings you closer to who you are in me. And that is exactly what will happen with the house I have prepared for you. You will feel peace even before entering it. You will feel peace when you hear about it. You will feel peace when you walk towards it, because it is born from my purpose, not from your anxiety. And I know you've spent years confusing signs. You thought what hurt was because it was too big. You thought what bothered you was because you didn't have enough faith. You thought what exhausted you was part of the process. But today I tell you, what is mine never drains you emotionally. What is mine doesn't put you at war with yourself. What is mine doesn't make you lose sleep trying to understand if it's right or wrong. What is mine brings clarity. It brings direction. It brings lightness. It brings peace. Peace is the first room in the house I'm bringing to you. Before you even have the keys, I've already offered you its peace. Before you even set foot in it, I've already made you feel its atmosphere. Before any document, I've already placed within you the silent certainty that something great is coming. What you feel is not imagination, it's connection. Peace always arrives before the promise. It comes as a sign, as a warning, as confirmation. And that's why you've been feeling this inexplicable tranquility these past few days. It's not a coincidence, it's an announcement. Everything that has taken away your peace in recent years was not part of your destiny. You needed to lose some things to gain yourself. Some people needed to leave so that you could find the right environment. Some paths needed to be closed so that you could enter the path prepared by me. And today I tell you, if something does not bring you peace, you should not insist on it. If something makes you lose peace, your promise is not there. If something confuses you, it is not my footsteps you are hearing. Peace will be your compass from now on. It will guide your next decisions. It will show you what comes from me and what needs to be left behind. It will protect you from repeating old cycles. It will preserve you from unnecessary pain. And when you finally enter the house I have prepared, you will feel that all the pieces have fallen into place. The peace you have sought for so long will be present in every corner. It will be like breathing for the first time after years of holding your breath. I want you to receive this teaching deeply because it will be essential in the unfolding of your journey. The promise is coming, and you cannot allow anything that steals your peace to cross the threshold of this new cycle. Keep this principle in your heart. What is yours brings peace. What is not yours steals peace. Use this as a filter. Use it as protection. Use it as guidance. And you will see how my path will become clearer before you. Comment now declaring that you choose to be guided by peace, because I am about to lead you to the place I have prepared for you. I know how much it hurts to let go of people. I know how much you've struggled to maintain bonds, relationships, friendships, and connections that have been part of your journey for so long. I know you've tried to be strong, tried to understand, tried to endure, tried to believe that everything would change. But now I need to tell you, with love and truth, there are people who cannot continue with you into the next chapter. Not because they are bad, but because the purpose that is coming requires lightness, maturity, and alignment, and some bonds no longer carry any of that. There are people who have drained your emotional strength for years, people you carried, supported, forgave, embraced, and lifted up more times than you can count. People who, instead of propelling you forward, dragged you down. People you tried to bring into your rhythm, but who insisted on living in cycles that made you sick. You wore yourself out trying to maintain relationships that I had already tried to end. And I know you felt guilty when you realized that some presences weighed you down more than they added to your life. But today I tell you, that guilt did not come from me. What comes from me brings peace, not burden. There are relationships that were important at one point in time, but that don't belong to destiny. You tried to keep them alive, but they were already spiritually complete. And when a relationship ends, spiritually, no amount of insistence on the natural can continue it. That's why so many conversations have worn thin. That's why so many closenesses have become distant. That's why so many connections have withered for no apparent reason. You thought it was your fault, but it wasn't. It was me protecting you. When I close a cycle, it's because your heart needs space to receive the new things I'm bringing. I distanced you from people who talked to you but didn't walk with you. I distanced you from those who didn't celebrate your growth. I separated you from environments where you were belittled, ignored, or used. I closed doors between you and people who prevented you from seeing your own worth. And even though it hurt, it was necessary, because the home I am bringing you is not just a place, it's a new beginning. And new beginnings cannot be tainted by old burdens. I cannot allow you to enter into a promise carrying emotional pain caused by others. I want you to understand something. I never remove someone from your life without a purpose. When I take them away, it's because they no longer serve you. When I distance myself, it's because I saw what you didn't see. When I end something, it's because there would be greater pain ahead. You only see today, I see tomorrow. You see intentions, I see the heart. You see words, I see the essence. And many people you insisted on keeping didn't have the structure to walk with you in this new season. Some would hold you back. Others would steal your peace. Others would lead you down paths I haven't prepared. Others wouldn't be able to handle the honor I'm releasing, and I couldn't allow that. There are also people who simply fulfilled their role. They were part of your construction, but they will not be part of your harvest. They were part of your pain, but they will not be part of your healing. They were part of your waiting, but they cannot enter your home. Not because they are unworthy, but because each promise has a pure, prepared, and specific environment. And for that environment to be preserved, some emotional doors need to be closed. You don't need to hate, you don't need to argue, you don't need to explain. Just accept that some chapters need to be finished so that others can begin. I am aligning your life with people who will bring peace, not burdens. With people who will celebrate your growth, not envy your progress. With people who will add to your life, not divide it. With people who will walk beside you, not just talk about walking. And for these new relationships to come about, you need to make space. You need to let go of what no longer belongs. You need to end what has already ended. Spiritual life is movement, not attachment. And now I call you to this movement. I know this can be difficult for you. I know you feel afraid of losing, afraid of being alone, afraid of the emptiness between one cycle and another. But don't be afraid. I am the God who sustains you in the space between what was and what will be. My presence is your companion in this process. I will fill every empty space. I will restore your heart. I will show you that no one I remove is missed in the future I am building. Everything that leaves makes room for something better. And when you are inside the house that I have prepared, you will understand. You will look back and realize that some people didn't have the emotional structure to be there, that some energies couldn't occupy that environment, that some presences didn't align with the cycle of honor that I released. You will see that everything made sense, and you will see that letting go was one of the most important acts of your preparation. Enjoy this video now as an act of strength and spiritual maturity, declaring that you are ready to let go of what does not belong to you and embrace what I have prepared for you. I know letting go hurts. I know that many times you held on to things, people, and memories because you were afraid of having nothing left. But today I tell you, to receive the new, you need to release what has already served its purpose. There are burdens that no longer belong to you. There are memories that no longer fit with the future I have prepared. There are feelings that only remain alive because you continue to nurture them. And I don't want you to enter the new house carrying the scars that hurt you in the past. Letting go is not abandonment. Letting go is spiritual maturity. It is allowing what has ended to find its rest. It is recognizing that some cycles do not need to continue. I am calling you to a new time, and this time demands lightness. You will lose nothing by letting go. You will make room for something better. What I will place in your hands needs space to flourish. Do not try to carry the old and the new at the same time. Just trust. What I have prepared for you is greater than anything you fear to release. I am guiding you to a place where your soul will finally find rest. I want you to look closely at everything that has happened in the last few days, the last few weeks, and even the last few months. The pressure has increased. The struggles have intensified. Exhaustion has come without explanation. Conflicts have arisen out of nowhere. Strange thoughts have tried to invade your mind. Small situations have seemed enormous. Emotions you thought you had already overcome have returned to test you. None of this is a coincidence. None of this is random. All of this is a sign that what I have prepared is approaching faster than you imagine. When the enemy realizes he cannot stop what I am doing, he tries to wear you down. He tries to steal your peace, drain your strength, provoke your mind, confuse your heart. He tries to make you believe you are retreating when, in fact, you are advancing. The attack never comes when you are far from your destination. It comes when you are close, and you are close, closer than you have ever been. That is why the pressure has grown. That is why the struggle has intensified. That is why you have felt things you couldn't even explain. You are not losing. You are very close to receiving. I tell you clearly, the struggle is not proof of weakness, it is confirmation of promise. The enemy does not fight against what is dead, he fights against what is about to be born. He does not become agitated when you are distant, he despairs when you are one step away. And that is why he tried to distract you, irritate you, delay you, confuse you. He knows he cannot close the door I opened, so he tries to make you give up on the path. He tries to turn every detail into a storm. He tries to make you believe that nothing has changed, but it has. You are at the exact point where the promises begin to touch the natural. Look at what you faced recently. It wasn't an ordinary attack, it was a specific attack, targeted, strategic. It tried to target your emotions because it knew you were sensitive. It tried to affect your relationships because it knew you cared. It tried to manipulate your mind because it knew your thoughts are fertile ground. It tried to create insecurity because it saw your faith growing. It tried to isolate you because it knows that in isolation it tries to confuse you. But I was with you every second, protecting what you didn't realize and guarding what you never imagined. I want you to see everything with new eyes now. This struggle is not defeat, it's an announcement. This pressure is not punishment, it's a sign of nearness. This weariness is not the end, it's the last push before the turning point. Every spiritual war intensifies when the miracle is very close to manifesting. Hell doesn't worry about what I'm not moving. It stirs when it realizes the promise is coming down. And yours is, the house I prepared is drawing near, the cycle I opened is advancing, what was distant is getting closer. And all this provokes a reaction in the spiritual realm. Therefore, I am telling you, do not give up. Now, do not misinterpret what is happening. You are not being destroyed. You are being confirmed. This pressure is proof that you have entered the finish line. This struggle is proof that the promise is already at the door. When heaven moves, everything around reacts. And you are feeling this reaction because I have already begun the liberation movement. The war you faced was, in fact, the echo of something greater that is coming your way. I want you to realize that the pain you felt lately isn't a sign of abandonment, it's a sign of closeness. It's the snap before the opening, it's the push before the arrival, it's the noise before the change. Everything that tried to bring you down will be a witness to what I will lift you up. And I will do this before the eyes of those who doubted, but especially before yours, so that you know that I have always been with you, even in the moments when the attack seemed greater than you. Now stand firm, continue in this revelation, do not allow the external noise to drown out my voice within you. I am guiding you, I am strengthening you, I am preparing you. And I am showing you that the struggle you faced was merely spiritual proof that the promise is not far away, it is near, very near. Share this message with someone who is also facing intense struggles, because they need to know that war is not defeat, it's confirmation of what is to come. I need you to understand something very important at this spiritual moment. When the enemy realizes he cannot prevent the promise, he tries to divert your focus. He cannot close the door I have opened, but he tries to take you off the path that leads to it. And the most powerful tool he uses at this stage is not destruction, but distraction. It comes softly, subtly, disguised. It comes as small worries, as meaningless irritation, as pointless conversation, as old memories that return, as racing thoughts that try to occupy your mind. All of this is strategic. It's not a coincidence. It's an attempt at dispersion. Have you noticed how, in the last few days, silly things have started to bother you? How small comments have affected you more than they should? How unimportant situations have taken up too much space in your head? How you've been thinking about things you would have ignored before? How old emotions, which you thought were overcome, have tried to return? This didn't happen because you are weak, but because you are close. The closer you are to the promise, the more the enemy tries to distract you. He knows he cannot prevent what I have determined, so he only tries to steal your concentration. Distraction is the last trap before manifestation. It doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to tire you, to leave you emotionally scattered, to make you look to the sides when you should be looking ahead. It tries to occupy you with noises, tasks, thoughts, and conflicts that have no real importance. Because if it manages to occupy your mind, it tries to silence your spirit. But I am here telling you, don't let yourself be captured by it. Don't allow small things to steal the greatness of what is about to happen. I tell you truthfully, everything that has tried to rise up recently was not great. It was noise, it was dust, it was shadow, it was distraction. And I want you to learn to differentiate between battle and distraction. Battle is what perfects you, distraction is what holds you back. Battle strengthens you, distraction confuses you. Battle brings you closer to me, distraction takes you away from focus. And you are at a moment when your spiritual sensitivity needs to be sharp. Don't get involved in pointless arguments. Don't feed conversations that drain energy. Don't respond to provocations that only exist to throw you off balance. Guard your mind, guard your peace, guard your silence when necessary. And I know you're wondering, why is all this happening now? Because you're crossing the finish line. As the promise draws near, war changes form. The enemy stops attacking what you have and begins attacking your attention, because it is your attention that determines whether you stay on the path or stray from it. A home is not just a physical place, it is an emotional and spiritual destination. And the enemy knows that if he can confuse your heart now, he can try to delay what I have already prepared, but he will not succeed. Because I am warning you before he touches something deeper. I am strengthening your discernment so that you can identify what deserves your energy and what needs to be ignored. Some things you simply need to let go of. Some words you need to let die before they enter your heart. Some situations you need to observe in silence and move on. You cannot waste energy on that which does not build what I am building. The promise demands focus, and I am aligning your vision so that nothing steals that from you. I tell you with love and authority, the final distractions are merely echoes of an enemy who knows he has lost. He is not fighting for victory, he is fighting to delay you, but you will not be delayed. You will not be confused. You will not be removed from the path I have laid out. You will navigate this moment with maturity, sobriety, and spiritual understanding, because what is coming is too great to be lost in small details. And now, to seal this commitment in spirit and declare that you will remain attentive, firm, and focused, do what I ask of you. Comment 7,777 now, declaring that no distraction will keep you from the promise I have prepared for you. I want you to understand something that will be essential for the next steps. Persevering to the end is the act that activates surrender. It's not just believing at the beginning, it's not just waiting in the middle, it's not just resisting during the struggles, it's remaining steadfast when everything within you feels tired. It's staying when the mind wants to give up. It's moving forward when the body begs for rest. It's believing when the silence seems too long. It is precisely at this point that many stop, not because they lacked faith, but because they didn't understand that the last stretch of the journey is always the most intense. And this stretch you are experiencing now is not defeat, it is closeness. I saw how hard you fought to keep going. I saw when you prayed without strength, when you got up, even when tired, when you decided to keep the faith, even without any natural signs. I saw when you said, "I can't take it anymore," but still took another step. I saw when you held back tears so no one would notice what was happening inside you. I saw when you almost gave up, but something inside you, something I myself placed there, pushed you to keep going. This perseverance is not small in my eyes. It is the seal that confirms you are ready for what is coming. The promise isn't being built, it's already been fulfilled in the spiritual realm. What's happening now is transition. It's like something that has already been sent and is on its way to your life, but the delivery can only be finalized when your heart remains aligned. Perseverance is that alignment. It's what keeps the door open. It's what prevents final distractions from taking you off focus. It's what wards off doubts that try to make you retreat. It's what keeps you standing when everything around you tries to push you back. To persevere is not to insist on emptiness. It is to sustain faith at the exact point where heaven touches earth. You are closer than you imagine. And that is precisely why fatigue has arrived with such force. The enemy knows he cannot stop the promise, but he tries to steal your strength in the final stretch. He tries to convince you that nothing will change. He tries to bring to mind your past failures. He tries to make you feel small before the great promise I have prepared. He tries to weaken your spirit because he knows that when you persevere, the promise is delivered. He cannot stop what I have already determined, but he tries to prevent you from remaining until the end. Do not allow this. I am renewing your strength right now. I am restoring your spirit. I am lifting your spirits. I am breathing new life into your journey. You didn't come this far to turn back. You didn't overcome everything you overcame only to die on the shore. You didn't face everything you faced only to give up on the eve of glory. I led you to this point because you are ready to experience the fulfillment of the promise. And your perseverance at this moment has more spiritual power than you imagine. It is what seals. It is what keeps open what I opened. It is what makes what is coming reach you. I am also clearing from your heart all the weight that tries to stop you. Fear, insecurity, doubts, emotional exhaustion. I am removing all of that as I speak to you. I am clothing you with strength, clothe you in courage, envelop you in peace. I want you to keep walking because it's almost over. It's very close. Home is getting closer. Destiny is materializing. The waiting time is ending. You are crossing the last few meters. And every step you take now has enormous prophetic weight. I tell you with love and authority, do not retreat. Do not stop. Do not give in to weariness. Do not allow your mind to convince you that it is not worth it. Everything you have waited for, everything you have cried for, everything you have endured has brought you exactly to this point. This is the moment when perseverance becomes key. Because while you remain, I finish what I have already begun. While you continue, I move what remains to be moved. While you resist, I deliver. And to seal this commitment in spirit, now perform a simple act of agreement with what I am releasing. Like and subscribe to stay firm on this path, because what's coming is too great for you to miss due to lack of perseverance. I want you to understand something profound that is happening now in your spirit. Even before it happens naturally, you are entering a time of acceleration. Everything that seems slow, distant, stagnant, or impossible will begin to move in ways you have never seen before. It is not imagination, it is not coincidence, it is not emotional expectation. It is divine movement, it is fulfillment, it is a change of season. It is heaven touching areas of your life that were dormant and activating a breakthrough that only happens when the preparation is complete. For a long time, you thought you were standing still. You thought you were behind schedule. You thought other people's lives were moving forward and yours wasn't. You thought the promise was too far away. You thought you didn't have the strength to keep waiting. But what you didn't know is that I wasn't delaying you. I was deepening your growth. Before the acceleration came, I needed to take root within you. Emotional roots, spiritual roots, roots of maturity, roots of identity, roots of trust. What you called delay, I called preparation. And now that the roots are formed, the growth will be rapid. Just like Japanese bamboo, which remains invisible underground for years and suddenly grows meters in weeks, so it will be with you. Years of spiritual silence, weeks of visible progress. The process was not in vain. Every tear, every weight, every frustration, every prayer without apparent answer was part of something greater. Now the time has come when what was hidden begins to appear. Things that haven't moved for months are beginning to unlock. You will notice this happening in areas you had even stopped praying about, because when I decide to accelerate, nothing can remain stuck. And the acceleration I am bringing will not be confusing, it will not be chaotic, it will not be heavy, it will be clear, it will be light, it will be continuous. You will not feel lost, you will feel guided. It will be as if suddenly everything makes sense, as if what was once fog now becomes a path. You will notice doors opening easily, opportunities arising effortlessly, people approaching with purpose, directions arriving with precision. None of this is by chance. It is alignment. It is heaven answering you after years in which you thought I was silent. I am changing the rhythm of your life. Before it seemed too slow, now it will flow too fast. Before it seemed directionless, now every step will have meaning. Before it seemed like nothing fit, now everything will begin to fall into place. You will feel a different urgency, a renewed strength, a courage you didn't even know you had. And this acceleration will come not only from the outside, but from within. You will think more clearly, feel lighter, act with more confidence, because when I accelerate the movement, I also accelerate the heart. Prepare yourself. You are not entering ordinary days. You are entering decisive days. Days in which things that have been held back for years will be released. Days in which stalled situations will finally unlock. Days in which answers will come with unexpected speed. Days in which you will see doors opening behind doors, paths being built before you, and opportunities that were previously impossible emerging as confirmation of what I am doing. And this will not be a coincidence, it will be fulfillment. The acceleration is a sign that the waiting time is over. You are leaving the preparation phase and entering the manifestation phase. Do not doubt the pace I will set in your life. Don't think it's too fast. Don't think it's too good to be true. Don't think you don't deserve it. You have spent years being prepared for this moment, and everything you have experienced up to this point was necessary for you to have the structure to carry what I am bringing now. I am taking you to a time where you will not walk, you will run. Where you will not seek, you will find. Where you will not push, you will flow. Where you will not suffer delays, you will see advancements. Because when I accelerate, I compensate, I restore, I rearrange, I transform years of waiting into weeks of progress. And that is exactly what is beginning to happen to you now. Receive this revelation. The time of slowness is over. The time of acceleration has begun, and nothing can interrupt the rhythm that I have placed in your life. I want you to clearly understand that rapid changes have already begun to move around you. Perhaps you haven't fully grasped it yet, but you're already feeling that some things that were previously too slow are starting to pick up speed. This different rhythm isn't emotional, it isn't psychological, it isn't a coincidence, it's divine acceleration. It's my movement, touching areas that seemed frozen. It's the time of promise approaching your daily life. And when I begin this process, nothing remains as it was. You will begin to notice small changes at first. Small signs, small answers, small advances. Situations that have been stuck for a long time will suddenly move forward. People who haven't responded to you will seek you out. Doors that seemed sealed will show a crack. Paths you couldn't see will become clear. And all of this will seem too sudden to be natural. Because it isn't natural, it's spiritual. It's a sign that what was invisible has begun to touch the visible. And it won't just be in one area, but in several at the same time. Things you never imagined could happen, will happen. Things you thought would take months will happen in days. Things that seem too complicated will become simple. You will look at old situations and say, "How did this happen so fast?" And I will answer you in spirit, because the time has come. When I accelerate, I reorganize everything. Bureaucracy dissolves, the path opens, knots unravel, doors respond to my command. Nothing is resistant enough to stop the movement I have decided to initiate. You will also notice a change in your environment. Strategic people will appear in your life. Important conversations will align. Information you needed but didn't know where to find will appear. And this will happen in such a synchronized way that you will understand it was I who moved. It was I who brought closer. It was I who connected. I am aligning everything behind what you see, and every detail is being adjusted so that you enter into the promise without lacking anything. Don't be surprised when situations that have been stagnant for years begin to flow. That's how it is. Acceleration doesn't respect human time. It obeys my decree. When I say the time has come, everything starts moving. I have aligned processes you aren't even aware of. I have moved hearts you never imagined would move. I have organized decisions that were being made long ago. I have connected dots that didn't depend on you. You prayed, you waited, you persevered. Now I respond. And understand, the acceleration will also come from within. You will begin to think more clearly. You will feel lighter. You will have ideas that seemed blocked. You will have the courage to do what previously held you back. Because when I accelerate the external, I also accelerate the internal. I open your eyes, unlock your feelings, adjust your vision. The change doesn't just happen outside, it happens inside you. And this inner transformation will be so strong that you will look at yourself and realize, I am different. What needs to happen will happen quickly. Not because you are in a hurry, but because I am fulfilling a promise. The acceleration is my signal that the time of the promise has reached its point of maturity. What took years to grow in secret has now grown enough to appear in public, and the house I have prepared for you is embedded precisely in this flow of progress. Don't be surprised when situations begin to converge all at once. That's how heaven works when it is in motion. And when you begin to notice these changes, don't diminish them, don't doubt them, don't try to justify them as chance. I tell you, it's not luck, it's purpose. It's not coincidence, it's fulfillment. It's not human movement, it's divine intervention. And the more you recognize this, the more sensitive you will become to seeing that rapid changes are not the end. They are the beginning of complete manifestation. Enjoy this video now as an act of agreement with the rapid movement I have already initiated, declaring that you recognize and receive every change I am bringing. I want you to understand that the acceleration I am bringing will not be limited to a single area. When I decide to move, I move everything. When I enter your story, I don't just restore one room, I restore the entire house. When I transform a promise, I transform everything around it. And that's why you will begin to notice changes in areas you never imagined would be touched now. What I am doing is bigger than you think. The promise of the house is the center, yes, but it doesn't come alone. It comes carrying a complete spiritual package of restoration, relief, alignment, and honor. You will notice that relationships will begin to change. Some will strengthen, others will dissolve effortlessly, and new bonds will appear at just the right time. People who drained your energy will simply lose their place in your life, while people who build you up will naturally approach you. This is not by chance, it is alignment. I am filtering the emotional environment so that you receive the promise without contamination, without burden, and without people who don't match the phase I am bringing. In the emotional realm, you will also see change. Cycles of anxiety begin to weaken, negative thoughts lose power, old fears dissolve, wounds you believed you would carry forever begin to heal. You will feel more stable, more centered, more secure. This happens because the acceleration is not only external, it is also internal. I work on your soul so that it can sustain what I am bringing naturally. I cleanse, remove, reposition, and organize everything within you so that nothing prevents you from experiencing what is coming. The financial area will also be addressed. I will unlock paths where there was scarcity. I will open opportunities that were locked. I will bring unexpected solutions. Small doors will transform into great answers. I am not just giving you a house, I am giving you the structure to live within it with dignity, peace, and stability. The promise is complete, not partial. I don't deliver something halfway. What I prepare comes with a foundation, support, and continuity. Your professional life will also begin to move forward. Ideas will emerge clearly. Directions you didn't see before will become evident. Opportunities that seemed distant will draw closer. Connections you never imagined will happen, and you will realize that everything is connected because it truly is. I am organizing the behind-the-scenes aspects of your life so precisely that you will understand that none of this is luck, it is divine intervention. When I decide to accelerate, I reposition everything around me so that progress is continuous. Even your spiritual life will be intensely touched. You will feel more sensitivity, more discernment, more strength, more clarity in prayer. You will understand signs you didn't understand before. You will perceive answers that previously went unnoticed. You will feel guided in a new way, as if I were taking you by the hand and leading you step by step. This happens because when I manifest something in the natural world, I first manifest it within the soul and spirit. The transformation you will experience will be complete. I want you to see what's happening as a spiritual domino effect. You touched the promise, and the promise touched all the surrounding areas. It's not just one house, it's a life being reorganized. It's a complete cycle being closed and another being initiated. It's as if you're moving from one entire phase to a higher one, where everything starts to align at the same time. What was disordered begins to become ordered. What was heavy begins to be removed. What was confusing begins to clear. I don't move loose pieces, I move the entire board. And why is all this happening at the same time? Because you arrived at the right time, because you persevered, because you resisted, because you matured, because you endured processes that others couldn't. And now I can release what was being prepared. It wasn't possible to deliver it before, but now it is. Now everything is ready. You, the environment, the right people, the resources, the time, the purpose. That's why the manifestation will come in multiple areas, like rain that soaks everything around, not just one part of the earth. Receive this truth. I am accelerating everything in your life because you are finally aligned with the promise. Don't be afraid of the pace. Don't be scared by the speed. Just trust. You are not losing control. You are entering my flow. And in that flow, nothing will be limited to a single area. Everything will be visited, everything will be adjusted, everything will be transformed. Share this message now to prophesy this same acceleration in multiple areas over other lives, because what I am doing in you will also reach others. I want you to understand now the depth of what I am about to do. The house I have prepared for you will not just be a home. It will not just be a physical space where you will live. It will not just be the fulfillment of an old dream. It will be a public testimony, a sign raised by my own hands, a visible response to the invisible process you have endured for years. I am not just giving you a place. I am raising you up before people who never imagined I would do this in your life. Everything you lived through in silence, the nights of crying that no one saw, the prayers said with a choked voice, the times you felt forgotten, the moments you had to swallow humiliations, the words that diminished you, the doors that closed, the waits that seemed endless. All of this will be answered before the eyes of those who underestimated you. The house will be proof that I heard every prayer, that I saw every tear, that I knew every detail of your struggle. Nothing went unnoticed by me. Nothing was ignored. Nothing was lost. The promise I will deliver will not be discreet. It will be clear. It will be visible. It will be striking. People will see you enter this new phase, and they won't be able to explain it. They won't be able to understand how you did it. They won't be able to deny that something greater is guiding your story. Many will be surprised. Others will remain silent. Others will regret the words they spoke. Because the house will not just be a victory, it will be a prophetic turning point in your life. I will not shame you, I will honor you. I will not allow your story to end marked by pain. I will end it marked by victory. The house will be a symbol of healing for you. It will be a symbol of new beginnings. It will be a symbol of my faithfulness. It will be a daily reminder that I fulfill what I promise, even when time seems too long. It will be the altar where your soul will rest and where your spirit will finally breathe a sigh of relief after so many years of struggle. And I want you to know, many people who laughed at you, who doubted you, who belittled you, who said you would never amount to anything, who mocked your faith, will see this house. Not because you will insist on showing it, but because I will insist that it be seen, because it's not about vanity, it's about purpose, it's about witnessing, it's about showing that I remain faithful, even when everyone around has given up believing. The house will be the living psalm of your life. It will be the page of your story where I write in letters of honor, I am the God who fulfills. You have no idea of the spiritual impact this house will have. It's not just about you having a place. It's about you becoming proof. Proof that the wait was worth it. Proof that I never abandoned you. Proof that the promise didn't die. Proof that the time of shame is over. Proof that restoration has arrived. People will look at your accomplishment and find hope for themselves. They will say, if God did it in his life, he can do it in mine. And that is one of the greatest purposes of the promise. It doesn't end with you, it flows through you. The house will be so perfectly aligned, so perfectly timed, so much like you, so much like your story, so much like your purpose, that you will understand instantly. This could only have been God's work, and it will be. Every detail will bear witness. Every wall will carry meaning. Every room will reflect a chapter overcome. Every part of the house will be an answer to something you have lived through. It will be as if I took all your pain, all your past, all your waiting, and transformed it all into bricks of honor. I am taking you to a place where what you have experienced in secret will be rewarded in public, not out of vanity, but for purpose. I will use this house to show the world that I am a God who fulfills, that I am a God who answers, that I am a God who transforms, that I am a God who honors those who persevere, even when tired, even when wounded, even when they understand nothing. And so that you remain connected to everything, I will continue to release into your life. Do this now as an act of spiritual positioning. Sign up and stay aligned with the testimony I am sharing through your story. I want you to understand that what I am doing in your life now will not only affect you, it will affect those who come after you. The home I have prepared will not only be the fulfillment of a promise in the present, it will be a spiritual milestone for future generations. It will be recorded in your family history as the day I broke cycles, ended old patterns, and inaugurated a new path for your lineage. The testimony does not die with you. It becomes an inheritance. For many years, you thought your story would be marked by instability, loss, exhausting restarts, lack of structure, or emotional limitations. Perhaps you grew up watching your family go through difficult situations, carrying silent pain, fighting for dignity, facing periods where it seemed nothing would settle. Perhaps you felt at some point that you inherited more struggles than victories. But today I tell you, this ends with you. The cycle changes with you. From you, the story takes another turn. You are the turning point of your generation, The house will be the physical symbol of all of this. When your family members look at it, they won't just see walls, they will see promise. They will see healing, they will see honor, they will see a new beginning, they will see proof that I can rewrite entire family histories with a single movement. Your children, your grandchildren, and even those you will never meet will hear about what I have done here. They will know that there was someone in the lineage who chose to believe, to hope, to persevere, and to trust even when it seemed impossible. They will know that their victory began the day I gave this house to you. And I want you to realize that this achievement didn't come from nowhere. It was born from the times you held onto your faith with trembling hands, from the times you decided not to give up when everything pressured you, from the times you prayed feeling like no one was listening, but I was listening, from the times you took small but firm steps, from the times you got up even when broken. Your resilience opened up space for your family's future. Your perseverance created a new path that others will walk more easily than you did. This testimony will be spiritually recorded as the moment when scarcity lost its power over your lineage, where fear gave way, where insecurity was replaced by stability, where shame was exchanged for honor, where waiting transformed into inheritance. The house will represent a complete break with the past. Where there was fragility, strength will emerge. Where there was delay, progress will arise. Where there was pain, healing will emerge. Where there was doubt, certainty will emerge. You are not just receiving a home, you are receiving a legacy. And I tell you more, your descendants will be influenced by this victory without even realizing it. They will grow up knowing that God acts. They will know that God fulfills His promises. They will know that God does not fail. They will know that there is a promise over the family. They will know that there is spiritual covering over you. The house will be remembered as the landmark that divided the generation that suffered from the generation that triumphed. It will be the before and after of your lineage, and you will be remembered as the one who trusted. This testimony will become part of your family's identity. There will be conversations where your name is mentioned as a reference of faith. There will be days when someone in your family will say, "If God did it in his life, He will do it in mine too." This is not vanity, it is purpose. I am using you as a gateway to liberate, strengthen, and restore your generation. That is why the process was so profound. Because it wasn't just about you, it was about everyone who will come after you. I am raising you up not just as someone who receives, but as someone who inaugurates. Inaugurating a new phase, a new atmosphere, a new spiritual path. The home is the first chapter of this change. After it, other areas will be transformed in your lineage. I will use this achievement to activate faith in those who never believed. I will use this victory to touch hardened hearts. I will use this testimony to heal old wounds within your own family and to seal in your spirit this inheritance that I am releasing upon you and yours. Perform now a simple and prophetic act. Comment by declaring that this victory will mark generations, because the testimony I am delivering does not end with you. I want you to understand the power that exists in the testimony I am preparing for your life. The house I will deliver will not only be an emotional victory, nor just the end of a period of suffering. It will be a spiritual weapon, an instrument that I will place in your hands so that you can face days of doubt, silence accusations, break cycles of fear, and have living proof of what I am capable of doing. There are testimonies that come as joy, but this one will come as authority. It will position you in a way that the enemy can no longer ignore, because today, many of the battles you face take place in your mind. Thoughts of inadequacy, insecurity, fear of failure, memories of the past, voices that diminish you, memories that try to hold you back. But when I manifest what I have prepared, all these voices will lose their power. The testimony has this power. It occupies the places where there was once war. Where there was once anxiety, peace will enter. Where there was once doubt, certainty will enter. Where there was once shame, honor will enter. Where there was once insecurity, conviction will enter. The fulfilled promise is the final blow against everything that tried to destroy you. The house will be spiritual proof against every argument of the enemy. When difficult days come, it will be your living reminder that I am a God who acts. When thoughts try to convince you that you can't, the house will be your answer. He has already done it for me. When insecurity tries to return, the house will be the testimony that says, there was a time when I thought it impossible, and God did it. When fear tries to paralyze you, the house will be your inner voice saying, He fulfilled it in His perfect timing. The testimony I will deliver will become part of your armor. I want you to realize that testimony will not only be something you live, but something you use. It will be your defense. It will be your strength. It will be your reminder. It will be your spiritual argument in future battles. Because there will be days when you need to remember, if God did that, He will do it again. And I will. Testimony opens spiritual doors because it carries the essence of my faithfulness. It carries evidence. It carries authority. It carries a divine mark. It carries the assurance that no matter what you face ahead, I will be with you as I am now. And not only that, the testimony I am raising up through you will serve to touch other lives. People who no longer believe in anything today will be awakened when they see what I will do. People living in cycles of pain will be inspired to believe again. People who have lost faith will look at you and see that I still work, still move, still transform, still fulfill. Your testimony will be a light in the darkness of others. It will be the spark that rekindles hope in broken hearts. Because I am not raising you up just for you. I am raising you up for all who need to see what I can still do. I will use this victory as a weapon against everything that tried to defeat you. I will use it as an answer against all the negative words that were spoken. I will use it as a cure for all the fears you carried. I will use it as a key to open future doors that, without this testimony, would remain locked. I will make you someone who carries not only faith but proof that I do not fail, proof that my timing is perfect, proof that I honor those who remain, proof that I never left you alone. The testimony will be so powerful that even the environments around you will change. The atmosphere of the house will be filled with peace. The place will be consecrated. You will feel rest just by entering through the door. All of this will be part of the spiritual weapon I am giving you. Because what I do doesn't just change your mind, it changes your reality. And this change will become your shield. You will no longer have just promises. You will have evidence. Therefore, receive this revelation. The testimony I bring is a weapon. It is defense. It is light. It is strength. It is a sign for you and for everyone around you. I will give you something that not even hell can deny. Enjoy this video now as an act of agreement with the powerful testimony I am sharing in your life. It will be your spiritual weapon from now on. I want you to receive now one of the most important revelations of this entire journey. The spiritual deed to your home has already been signed. It's not something that is still to be decided. It's not something that is under evaluation. It's not something that depends on human circumstances to happen. It's not something that is in dispute. I have already signed it. I have already determined it. I have already finalized in heaven what you cannot yet see on earth. The promise is not in process. It is spiritually complete. What remains now is only the manifestation in perfect timing. I don't work with improvisation. I don't decide things at the last minute. When I plan something, I establish it in the spiritual realm before delivering it in the natural realm. And as far as your home, your honor, your new beginning are concerned, all of that has already been decreed. The deed is written before me. Nothing and no one can touch what I have determined. The signature I have placed cannot be removed, changed, annulled, or delayed by human hands. There is no opposing force that can invalidate what I confirm with my own word. You spent years thinking you were waiting for my decision, but what you didn't know is that I was waiting for the right time for manifestation. The signing isn't recent. I had already decided to give you this gift a long time ago, but for the promise to be complete, it was necessary to prepare your heart, strengthen your faith, adjust your spirit, consolidate your roots, and remove everything that didn't belong to the next cycle. Now that this preparation is complete, the time for fulfillment has arrived. The deed was already signed, you just didn't know it. And I want you to understand what this means spiritually. No one can interfere with what is yours. No envy can touch it. No resistance can stop it. No contrary word has power. No human injustice can alter the decree I have established. It doesn't matter who doubted, who mocked, who said you would never have anything, who tried to humiliate you, who thought your destiny would always be inferior. What I have written is not decided by opinions, it is decided by purpose, and the purpose is already sealed. The enemy tried to wear you down because he knew he couldn't stop it. He tried to distract you because he knew he couldn't undo it. He tried to confuse you because he knew he couldn't touch the spiritual document I signed. All he did was try to convince you that you would never receive it. But now I tell you, there is nothing he can do. The promise belongs to you by spiritual right. I do not allow anyone to take what I have determined to be theirs. When I sign, the war in the spiritual realm ends. My signature is final judgment. There is no appeal, no opposition, no review. When I decree something, even hell must retreat. When I stamp something with my will, the entire earth reorganizes itself to comply. People may try to prevent it, but they cannot. Systems may try to delay it, but they have no authority. Circumstances may try to seem impossible, but they have no power. The deed I signed is already active, alive, recognized in the spiritual realm. What is about to happen is not a possibility, it is inevitable. And why am I revealing this to you now? So that you stop doubting, so that you stop fearing, so that you stop thinking that something might go wrong at the last moment, so that you understand that what I have decided to deliver does not depend on luck, opportunity, or coincidence. It depends only on my timing, and my timing is coming upon you. You are not fighting to conquer something uncertain. You are walking towards something that is already yours, and this certainty will change your attitude, your faith, and your peace from now on. I want this revelation to descend upon your spirit like a seal, not as a fleeting emotion, but as conviction. The deed is signed, the promise is guaranteed, the miracle is released. Nothing can snatch from your hands what I have placed in your destiny. Now you walk not as one who asks, but as one who waits. Not as one who fights for something fragile, but as one who already possesses something eternal. You are not seeking the promise is already seeking you. And to seal this truth in the spiritual world and declare that you receive what has already been decreed, perform this simple and prophetic act now. Comment 7777, declaring that the spiritual deed of your promise has already been signed and no one can prevent its fulfillment. I want to teach you now one of the most powerful spiritual secrets that exist: anticipatory gratitude. giving thanks before seeing, giving thanks before receiving, giving thanks before touching, giving thanks before entering the house, giving thanks before the door opens naturally, because gratitude is not just a nice gesture, it is a weapon, it is a key, it is a decree. When you give thanks for what has not yet arrived, you declare to the spiritual world that you already recognize the promise as fulfilled. Your gratitude doesn't activate the miracle because it persuaded heaven. It activates it because it aligned your heart with what I have already determined. Advanced gratitude proves that you believe in my signature, even without seeing the physical document. It proves that you trust in my timing, even without understanding the details. It proves that you rest in my faithfulness, even if the circumstances still seem silent. Gratitude is faith in action. It is the posture of one who knows they will not be put to shame. It is the attitude of one who does not need to see to believe, needs only to know that I have spoken. To give thanks now is like opening the doors of your spirit and saying, I receive what God has already given me in heaven. And I want you to realize how your environment changes when you give thanks. Anxiety loses its power, fears are silenced, the mind becomes organized, the soul rests, the spirit aligns. Gratitude creates an atmosphere where miracles flourish more easily. Because when you give thanks, you shift your focus from what is lacking and place it on me. And when you shift your focus from lack ceases to control you. Gratitude is the prophetic act that transforms waiting into rest. You don't give thanks when the miracle arrives, you give thanks to prepare the place where it will arrive. And I know you've faced many days when gratitude seemed impossible, days when the pain was greater than your faith, days when exhaustion prevented you from even praying, days when questions were stronger than hope. But even so, you never stopped believing. Even broken, you persevered. Even wounded, you continued. Even without seeing anything happening, you didn't let your faith die. And that's why now I'm teaching you this final step. Anticipatory gratitude isn't a burden, it's liberation. It's you leaving the place of doubt and entering the place of certainty. I have already moved what needed to be moved. I have already aligned what needed to be aligned. I have already broken what needed to be broken. I have already closed what needed to be closed. I have already opened what needed to be opened. The spiritual deed has already been signed. The time has already been determined. The promise has already been released. Now gratitude is the key that keeps your heart open until the manifestation arrives. Gratitude doesn't change what I will do, it changes how you go through the process. And I want you to go through this with lightness, not with fear. When you give thanks, you close the door to doubt. Doubt says, what if it doesn't happen? Gratitude answers, it already happened in heaven. Doubt says, what if it goes wrong? Gratitude answers, what God does never fails. Doubt tries to hold you back in what you see. Gratitude moves you toward what I have already accomplished. Therefore, I tell you, give thanks now, not for emotion, not for euphoria, not for circumstances, but for conviction. Anticipatory gratitude is the highest form of saying, I trust and know that this gratitude will not be forgotten. It will be recorded before me as maturity, as faithfulness, as alignment. It will be the bridge between waiting and fulfillment. Your thank you now has more power than 1,000 requests, because it is born from certainty, not need. It is born from faith, not anguish. It is born from understanding, not despair. Give thanks because you are already spiritually holding what has not yet arrived physically. The house is yours. The Teptasef, testimony is yours. The honor is yours. And the time is coming. And so that this gratitude may also reach other lives that need to learn to be grateful before receiving, perform a simple and prophetic act now. Share this message so that it may awaken faith in someone who needs to learn to be grateful for the miracle before seeing it happen. I want you to receive this truth in the deepest part of your spirit. Manifestation is now inevitable. It no longer depends on your effort, your emotional strength, someone's help, the right conditions, or favorable circumstances. What I have released into your life has reached a spiritual point where nothing can stop it, nothing can delay it, nothing can block it. The promise has ceased to be expectation and has become movement. It is not coming slowly, it is advancing with authority, overcoming everything that previously seemed impossible. You spent years believing you needed to do something more, to push, to insist, to try to solve things on your own. But now I tell you, the time for fighting for the promise is over. From this point on, the promise fights for you. What was secret has fully matured. What was invisible has taken shape. What was held back has begun to move. What once seemed distant is, at this very moment, approaching your reality in such a natural way that you will recognize it was God. Even if some doors still seem slow, I have already decided on the speed. Even if some people don't cooperate, I have already determined alternatives. Even if some systems seem disorganized, I have already aligned what is necessary. None of this can stop what I have released. The manifestation of your home no longer depends on the natural world, it depends only on my will. And my will is already in action. It has already begun. It has already moved. It is already touching your story. You will realize that in the coming days, everything will begin to make sense. Loose pieces will fall into place. Old conversations will resurface with purpose. Stalled documents will move forward. Opportunities that seem distant will draw closer. And this will not be effort, it will be flow. Because when I determine that the time has come, even what seemed impossible bends to my purpose. Manifestation is no longer a possibility, it is a certainty. I want you to rest in this revelation. You are no longer waiting for the promise. The promise is coming to you. And it will come in such an aligned, synchronized, and perfect way that you will realize nothing could have been different. Every detail of the process has brought you exactly to this point. Every tear, every difficult night, every silence, every closed door, every detour, all of this has built the ideal setting for the miracle that is now approaching. Nothing can interrupt what I have begun. Not people, not circumstances, not delays, not spiritual resistance. The manifestation has crossed the boundary of the invisible and is about to enter your daily life. You are on the threshold of the greatest fulfillment you have ever experienced, and now simply remain at peace. Because you are walking towards something that is already yours, something that no one else can touch, take away, or prevent. The protest is inevitable, and it has already begun. I want you to receive this truth as the foundation for everything I will yet reveal to you. The promise is guaranteed. There is no longer any possibility of loss, failure, permanent delay, or frustration. What I have determined about your life cannot be erased. What I have written about your future cannot be revoked. What I have prepared for you will not be given to another person. What I have placed in your destiny will not be diverted. The promise is not at risk. The promise is secure. The promise is sealed by my word, and my word does not go back on itself. I know that for a long time you lived in fear that something might go wrong at the last minute. Fear that some invisible obstacle might arise. Fear that something would get out of control. Fear that the enemy would find a loophole. Fear of losing what you always dreamed of. But today I tell you, none of that has power over what I have determined. What comes from me is stable. What comes from me is protected. What comes from me is shielded. You don't need to fear what is already guaranteed. I saw every moment your heart trembled. I saw when you almost gave up. I saw when the wait seemed too long. I saw when you thought you weren't worthy. I saw when you thought I had forgotten you. I saw when you believed nothing would change. But while you cried, I worked. While you waited, I aligned. While you grew weary, I strengthened. While you prayed, I signed decrees in your favor. Every second of your waiting was guarded by me, and now every second of your harvest will be honored by me. You are not entering a fragile, uncertain, or unstable time. You are entering a time established by my hand. And when I establish, no one can undo it. When I command, no one can contradict. When I prepare, no one can interfere. The promise of the house I will give you does not depend on who likes or dislikes you. It does not depend on who is rooting against you. It does not depend on the surrounding circumstances. It depends only on me. And I have already decided that it is yours. From now on, I want you to start resting in a different way. A rest that doesn't come from logic, but from revelation. A rest that doesn't come from reason, but from certainty. A rest that says, God has already done it, and I'm just waiting for the moment to see it, because that's where you are. You're no longer waiting to see if it will happen. You're waiting for the exact moment it will happen. This changes everything. This changes your posture. This changes your breathing. This changes your heart. I want you to realize how my voice sustains you, how the peace I am pouring out now is different from any you have ever felt, how there is something within you confirming what I am saying. This confirmation doesn't come from emotion, it comes from the Spirit, because you know deep down that I am speaking to you. You feel the truth of what I am declaring. You feel something within you organizing itself, aligning itself, strengthening itself. This is the sign that it is already done. The promise is guaranteed because I myself watch over it, I myself protect it, I myself guide it, I myself manifest it. You no longer carry this weight alone. I carry it with you. I carry it for you. I take care of what I will deliver into your hands, and no matter what happens around you, nothing will change what has already been decreed. The assurance I'm giving you now will be essential for what's to come in the next revelations, because the end of this journey needs to prepare you for the beginning again. It needs to position you to start over with renewed faith, with deep confidence, with an awakened spirit. You'll realize that when this video restarts, it will make even more sense. Because the end connects to the beginning, the guaranteed promise connects to the acknowledged pain, the certainty of the future connects to the story that brought you here. And before I lead you to the next revelation, perform this simple yet powerful act. Like and subscribe to seal in your spirit that the promise is guaranteed and nothing can take it from your hands. I want you to do something now that will seal in spirit everything I have revealed so far. Something simple but profoundly powerful. Declare. Open your mouth and affirm what I have already determined in heaven, because when you declare, you take a stand. When you declare, you agree with what I have said. When you declare, your mind aligns, your heart stabilizes, and your spirit strengthens. The declaration doesn't change. My decree, it changes you, so that you walk with the right posture until the complete manifestation of the promise. Throughout your life, you have been silenced many times. There were cycles in which you remained silent so as not to hurt anyone, not to create conflict, not to expose yourself, not to appear weak, not to be ridiculed. There were internal struggles that you faced alone, without verbalizing anything you felt. There were pains that you swallowed without speaking. There were dreams that you buried without confessing. But now I tell you, this is not a time to be silent. This is a time to declare. Declare that you believe, Declare that you receive, declare that you will live, declare that you will witness. Declare that nothing will stop you. Your declaration opens up space within you for what I am bringing. It puts you in a position of expectation. It says to your spirit, prepare yourself, for it is coming. It says to your mind, do not doubt anymore. It says to your heart, you are safe. It says to the spiritual world, I agree with what God has determined. The declaration is like a key that turns within you and unlocks what was still held captive by fear, hesitation, and insecurity. That is why I ask you to declare, not because I need to hear it, but because you need to hear your own faith. And it's important that you realize that the one who declares is not the one who sees. The one who declares is the one who believes. The declaration precedes the vision. You haven't yet entered the house, but declare that you will enter. You haven't yet held the keys, but declare that they will come into your hands. You haven't yet walked through the rooms, but declare that they already belong to you. Declare that what is on its way will not be interrupted. Declare that no resistance will keep you away. Declare that you will be a living witness to my faithfulness. Declare that you will live what I promised, and you will live in fullness. When you declare, you weaken everything that has tried to surround you for so long. Doubt loses power, fear loses reach, negative thinking loses ground. Insecurity loses its voice, because the light of declaration cannot coexist with the shadow of hesitation. One replaces the other, and I want you, from today onward, to replace what has silenced you. I want you to become someone who speaks with faith, who decrees with conviction, who affirms with authority what I have already written in your destiny. I am calling you to an inner movement, to a positioning, to a mature stance. It is not enough to merely hear my promises. It is necessary to agree with them. It is not enough to merely wait. It is necessary to declare that you are ready to receive. Your declaration seals in the spirit what is about to happen in the natural. It functions as the signature of your heart on the decree that I have already signed in heaven. It is the Amen that connects the invisible to the visible. It is the yes that places you within the flow that I have already initiated. And know this, every word you declare will be recorded, because I honor the mouth that declares what I have promised. I strengthen those who affirm that they will receive. I accelerate the manifestation in the lives of those who are not afraid to say, God will do it. The words you speak now are not empty. They have spiritual weight, they have direction, they have purpose. Your declaration opens the heavens over your process. It creates atmosphere, it expands faith, it organizes your spirit to receive what is coming. So do it now with a convinced heart, an awakened spirit, and complete faith. Comment declaring that you will receive and witness the fulfillment of this promise as the final seal of what I am accomplishing in your life. I want you to allow your spirit to descend now to a place of profound calm, because it is from here that everything begins again. You have walked with me through every revelation, every reaffirmed promise, every detail I have prepared for you, and yet I remain here, observing every movement of your heart. Nothing you have experienced has gone unnoticed by my eyes. Every sigh, every wait, every silent prayer I have welcomed. And that is why this moment is not an end. It is merely the point where the path returns to the beginning. While you breathe, I keep everything aligned. While you think about what's to come, I'm already taking care of what you don't see. While your heart tries to comprehend the magnitude of what I'm releasing, my love envelops every part of your story with purpose. It is here, at this exact point, that I prepare you to hear again what I have always said. I see you. I know what you feel. I know where it hurts. I know where you lack. I know where you need to be touched. Nothing ends here. You simply return to where everything begins, to the certainty that I am near, attentive, present, guiding every step. Breathe, because the next moment already leads you back to the first.